Hello and welcome to the Printable Cuttable Creative YouTube channel. My name is Lynn, or LV Handcrafted, across all of the socials, and today I am going to make a really adorable Halloween card. This is actually based on two printable, cuttable, creatable digital cut files that you can find, and at the moment they're both free, so this is a really fabulous combination. The first is the candy cane shaped card, which is wonderful. I've already cut it out using my Cricut, and there's just 3 layers. It's your card base, so this will do the scoring for you, but as you saw, I just put this in my scoreboard, and I scored it in my scoreboard by just lining up the ends where you can kind of clearly see where the top and bottom curve in before it starts to go straight. That makes it really easy to line up in your scoreboard. So this is one of those projects where if you don't have one of the scoring tools that can fit into your cutting machine, no problem, really easy to line that up. And then the orange layer goes down next, and finally the yellow layer on top of that at the very bottom. So everything cut beautifully. I had a little bit of a jagged edge, so whenever that happens, I just take an emery board and just sand that down. Then for my sentiment, this I cannot believe is free. It is the Candy Cane Cutie digifile, and it's amazing. There's actually more to this sentiment than I've used. So there's actually 3 different shadow layers that are progressively larger. I've chosen to just use the 1 layer, but there's actually 2 larger ones on top of what I've used. And the sentiment is built up from from different sized candy corn, the largest having a bit of an emoji face on him. So I thought that was really cute. And I didn't actually use a lot of the pieces that you could use with the candy corn face, because there's even some cut files that will cut out the cheeks and the mouth if you wanted to do some die cut, like, or inlaying into those recessed areas. But I'm actually okay with it just looking black, so I've left it like that instead of embedding the like rosy cheeks and the pink lips in. Then I have 3 of these smaller candy corns. These are assembled a little bit differently. So with the card, I don't know if you remember, but the orange layer that went down first, it was actually the bottom and the midsection, and then the yellow layered on top of that. For these small candy corn, on the sentiment, the bottom or the yellow layer is 1 layer, and then you would just add your orange layer, just butt it up right against the yellow layer. So those 2 layers are flush. They aren't stacked one on top of another. And the sentiment cuts out beautifully as well, and it's actually all connected, which is really nice because then you don't have to worry about positioning too many separate pieces. They're all together. And with the sentiment, especially since you do have the shadow layer or the backdrop layer, what's really nice about that is it does help you with some of the positioning. I don't know how you like to approach putting together a puzzle, but I like to start from the outside borders and work my way in. It's the same approach with this. What I like to do is have everything assembled, and then using the outer edge of that shadow layer as a guide, I like to then glue down each of the element that is on the surround, on the border. That really only leaves the word corn in the center that is floating. But the idea of going around the border first is that if you get all of that nice and even, then whatever is floating around in the center, you can always try to move that around so that it's as equal as it can be given the space that's left for it. Whereas sometimes when I've assembled things like this, if I start on one end and then I try to space things evenly, but maybe I've eyeballed it wrong, by the time I get to the opposite end, maybe I've left too much space, maybe I haven't left enough space, and it looks a little bit more off than it does if the complete outside border looks even, and maybe if the inside is a little bit off, it seems, for me anyways, a little bit less perceptible. But also, I feel like it doesn't happen very often that I can't fit something in that middle space. Usually if you get everything on the outside lined up so that the border or the spacing is equal, then what's left in the center should fit just fine. And that's what I found to be the case with this too. As I'm gluing everything down, I am using these reverse tweezers, which I find really helpful because you don't have to continue to actively push in to hold the tweezers shut. So in their default state, it's closed, and you actually squeeze to release. So that makes it a lot easier to just hold onto these smaller cut pieces and get my glue applied to them before finally placing it. And then now that I have the entire sentiment on its backer plate, on its shadow layer, it becomes really easy to position this where I want it on the final card. The last little finishing touch will be a couple of drops. These are actually wax drops. So I like to make wax seals, but at the end of a session of making wax seals, I'll just pour out whatever wax is left over and make these little drops. They're really, really easy, and they self-level really beautifully. I hope that you enjoyed this project today. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you want to see more content from my teammates who also post to this channel, do hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to get an alert whenever new content is posted. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye!